Hello, I'm Logue, and this is Let's Talk Consciousness. And I think I'm just going to delve into some fucking weird territory and just dive right in and skip the intro and all that, and then lay out some background as I go along. So I'll start with something I witnessed for myself that is strange, and at the time, I couldn't really put into any real context with the information I had at the moment. And I just kind of held on to it, and now it seems as has gone on, it seems to tie into things I'm learning as I've done previous videos about QAnon and some of those disclosures, and I'm established that I'm going into conspiracy theory territory quite a lot. But anyway, to what I saw. So within the last 6 months or so, I don't remember exactly when, I was driving to work towards Marina, California, the Fort Ord area, and this area is where there is a partially decommissioned army base, Fort Ord, and parts of it are still active. Parts of it have become a campus for a school, but it's not altogether that interesting of a spot in terms of conspiracy stuff. That's not why I bring it up, but it's just where this took place. And what I saw, which was really strange, is a set of parallel beams, basically, that were darker than the sky around them, and that's weird in and of itself. But in the way that you would see like a spotlight at night, creating a shaft of light that would have a very straight line, and whether it's pointed straight up or sweeping across the sky, you know what that looks like. And in the case of 7 a.m. when the sun is out and the sky is like a kind of powder blue, like 70s tuxedo color, and from the distance where I'm heading west towards the ocean, the two shafts of dark light, essentially. I mean, basically the rest of the sky is powder blue. These two beams are like a deep ocean blue, and I have no idea what I'm looking at. Like it's just something like it was so odd, but the strangeness of it did take a very long time to sink in. But basically, it persisted for like 2 or 3 minutes. One of them faded, and then the other one faded, and then it was just gone. And at the time, I had really no context for what that could have been, and no earthly idea. But later, as I've explored many different rabbit holes on YouTube, found Project Bluebeam, and in particular, I found the video that was most similar to what I saw is a video from YouTube user Richiefromboston, and I'll link to it. And it's a 3-minute clip of him parked ostensibly somewhere in Boston. I forget if it says the location or not. And he's videotaping the sky, and one half of the sky is this like darker blue, and then one half is a lighter blue, and it's sunsets with lots of different colors. But that's very similar to what I saw, except it was two parallel shafts instead of half of the sky being blue. But it was just really odd, and I have no idea what to make of it. So with that, I just kind of offer it to put it out there. I mean, at this point, yes, I wish I had pulled my phone out and taken pictures or videotaped it. But the problem with this, and as I've learned more about videos of supposed holographic technology, which by the way I just breezed past what Bluebeam is. Basically, there are now videos that some of them have like 250,000 views of different presentations about what Bluebeam is, but ostensibly it's a system of satellites that can create holographic images in the sky, and that probably the best video that goes towards trying to connect that to evidence of its actual existence is from Truthstream Media, and I'll link to it, because there actually are published references to a supposed plan that was just on the drawing board to create holographic images in the sky over Baghdad to have basically the image of Allah or Muhammad or whatever. It's standing in the sky, speaking down to everybody below, and for all sorts of reasons of manipulation. But that sounds fucking crazy. It's really weird. But the reason that I think that is relevant now is that as the Q disclosures have taken place, and as more people are looking at what potential false flags might be in store for us, Seemingly like the ultimate false flag would be, some sort of alien invasion. I know that sounds crazy, but if shit's really hitting the fan or there's really some desperation, having that on deck, if you were, you know, some number of the deep state who is in fear for their future, um, maybe that is something that they're kind of prepping for, cooking up, just in worst case scenario. But other people depict it as like a plan that's like inevitable, and I don't know. I mean, my first exposure to that, I didn't take it seriously. I thought that most of the incremental steps towards disclosure were a good thing, and that we were kind of on our way to getting some steps closer to that. And then with more evidence of managed, manipulated disinformation and kind of steered and fed whistleblowers, people who seemingly have gotten information from inside sources, and then it turns out that they're being kind of managed in some way for other ulterior motives. People suspect that about Stephen Greer. Tom DeLonge is one that I think is kind of abundantly clear that that's what's going on. I mean, if you're already familiar with him and the recent video that's come out that was in the New York Times and or Washington Post with footage of a plane tracking a UFO or I'm just gonna call them UFO. I don't give a shit what they say. Anyway, if you see those videos and the people who are behind Tom DeLonge and what their stated kind of objectives are, it's like I'm not going to over explain that, but basically, yeah, it doesn't seem right to me. It seems like there's a lot of manipulation going on. But point being, if that's what's kind of in the works, is some sort of like public, mass hysteria created by a fake alien invasion created from, holographic technology. I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but everything that like a lot of the Q material has exposed us to is fucking crazy. I mean, it's like the more material that comes out, the weirder reality seems to be, and the more inside out it seems to be, and the more we seem to be suffering a lot of illusions. So anyway, I'm just going to leave it at that with that testimony, I guess, of my own experience seeing that, not knowing what I'm seeing, and just not really having any concrete information, just this is what I observed. I guess some commentary about the area. I mean, where this happened, I work in Monterey, and the area has, as I mentioned, Fort Ord. There's also the Naval Postgraduate School, which has plenty of interesting looking antennas. Who knows what's going on there? And the Defense Language Institute. I mean, it is a place that has a big, military presence. On another subject, there's also a really interesting UFO documentary on Netflix called The Curse of the Man Who Sees UFOs, which is about a guy in Monterey named Cristo Rapallo, I think is his last name. Interesting documentary, which he just carries around cameras and seems to just get a shit ton of sightings, which, as I mentioned, in this day and age, with video and the capabilities of CGI, it's really difficult to trust anything we see. But if you kind of have a personality and a testimony to go along with it, I find it to be more compelling. So in the case of that documentary on Netflix, and Cristo and his videos, it's compelling in my opinion, and it makes me wonder if Monterey is for some reason some sort of UFO hotspot. Who knows? Who knows what's going on here? But I'll leave it at that. I'm somewhat reluctant to share this because I feel like it's a weird thing to share. But if things do really take a turn for the crazier, which they've already really taken a turn for the crazy, perhaps we'll see some really weird fucking shit in the sky, and hopefully soon after it some kind of dispelling of any kind of false myth that's trying to be created. Who knows? So yeah, stay weird.